Flip phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
This is current USC commit Malachi Nelson. Malachi Nelson is seen as one of the most highly touted players in the nation. He's one of the top quarterbacks. He's a 5-star, and more importantly, is a player that can change any program that he goes to. When talking about his ranking according to the 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings, he's a 5-star, number 2 player in the nation, number 2 quarterback. The only player that he is behind is Arch Manning, and just a couple weeks ago, he took over Arch Manning, dropping him from a perfect rating by overtaking him in the ESPN rankings. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Malachi Nelson and the recent visit that he took down to Aggieland at Texas A&M. I'm going to be talking about this visit, if A&M has a real shot at flipping Malachi Nelson from USC, should USC fans be worried, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on this entire situation. Before I move on with the video, guys, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. Before I talk about the entire Malachi Nelson and Texas A&M situation, I'm going to be talking about some background information on Malachi Nelson. If you heard earlier in the intro of the video, you would know that Malachi Nelson is one of the best players in the nation, being a consensus 5-star recruit on every recruiting platform. He's seen as a future first rounder and a guy that has a lot of upside and potential that's going to be game changing any program that he's at, and more importantly is supposed to be the future of the USC Trojans. Malachi Nelson plays for Los Alamitos High School in California. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation last season, playing in a very tough division in California. In 2021, as a junior, he threw for 2,690 yards, 39 touchdown passes compared to only 8 interceptions. He also accounted for 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. When talking about a player of Malachi Nelson's caliber, of course he's going to be highly touted and be someone that has all the top programs offering him left and right. He has 25 current offers up to this current date from schools such as Oklahoma, Alabama, USC, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, and Notre Dame, just to name a few, while his recruiting process was going heavy. He's a California kid, and he actually grew up a USC fan. And his main 2 schools that were heavy in his recruitment the first time he committed was USC and Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley is a quarterback guru, and everyone knows that. And that was someone that Malachi Nelson was very interested in playing for, and he committed to OU July 18th, going into the 2021 college football season to be the next 5-star quarterback under Lincoln Riley. When talking about the pledge to Oklahoma for Malachi Nelson, it was a really big get for the Sooners, as this was a top quarterback, and you're getting him very early on in the 2023 recruiting cycle before the guy even plays his junior season, and it really picked up a lot of momentum as the Sooners eventually had the number 1 class in 2023 with a deadly offense in that class featuring Malachi Nelson, Trayon Webb, Mekhi Lemon, DeAndre Moore Jr., Brennan Ennis, Luke Haas, just to name a few. However, the commitment to Oklahoma, it wouldn't last. The second that Lincoln Riley took the job out west at USC, Malachi Nelson decommitted from the Sooners. Unsurprisingly, shortly after his decommitment from the Sooners, Malachi Nelson would end up committing to USC that same day. And when this commitment did happen for USC, they got the guy that all USC fans really wanted the most, the homegrown kid, Malachi Nelson, the player that everyone in that fan base wanted the most from the very beginning. And despite missing out on him the first time, he was finally a Trojan. And everybody was going to hype up the 2023 class for USC, as it was going to be a very special one, and maybe even top 5 in the nation. When fast forwarding to current day and looking at the USC 2023 recruiting class, it's a good class. They're just outside the top 10, ranked number 12 according to the 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings, and it's a good class. Maybe not as good as some people are going to expect it was going to be after the move of Lincoln Riley to USC and all the decommitments that OU had, but it's still a good class at that. That even has 2 5-stars in Malachi Nelson and Zachariah Branch. But let's talk about this Texas A&M situation. Recently, Texas A&M hosted a big recruiting visit event the Texas A&M pool party. And this event was going to have some big name guys who are currently committed, and guys who are uncommitted that were Texas A&M targets. One of the people that were committed currently and was a USC commit that was expected to be there and was there was Zachariah Branch. However, about 24 hours before the event was going to kick off, there was a surprise name that everyone was rumoring, and that was none other than USC 5-star commit Malachi Nelson. And some people disproved the rumors and saying he's not going to be there. It's just a smokescreen. However, Malachi Nelson was indeed there. This visit to Texas A&M for Malachi Nelson was very out of the blue and very sudden. It's something that no one really expected until just a few hours before, well, he actually visited and was seen on campus in College Station. And if you said he was going to visit a week earlier, people would have probably called you stupid, because why would he go to Texas A&M as a quarterback commit for Lincoln Riley? And of course, you can point out the fact that it's only an unofficial visit, and only a visit at that. It doesn't mean he's going to flip, and it doesn't mean he's going to decommit from USC. However, in my opinion, I feel like this visit does mean just a little bit in the grand scheme of things. You can say that it's just a visit it's only a visit, he's locked in. However, in my opinion, if you're taking visits while you are committed, and you've been committed to someone for a very long time, it kind of leads you to think that something else is really going on, and that you have some interest in the program, just a little bit, that you are visiting, even though you are committed. And I feel like there's a number of scenarios of why Malachi Nelson is visiting Texas A&M. The visit that Malachi Nelson took, it wasn't an official visit, and an official visit is different from an unofficial visit because official is fully paid by Texas A&M, while unofficial, the one that Malachi Nelson took, is not paid at all by Texas A&M and comes straight out of the recruit's pocket or the recruit's family's pocket. With this, in fact, being an unofficial visit and Malachi Nelson having to take money out of his own pocket to get to College Station and be on this unofficial, it makes me think that it's a little important to keep up with, because if it was official, you can bat an eye on it as kind of a free little mini vacation that Malachi Nelson can take, but with it being unofficial and being on his own dime, it makes you think that he does care a little bit about Texas A&M, or that he has something else planned. To answer the question posed earlier in the video of, does Malachi Nelson have a chance to be flipped by Texas A&M? And I feel like the simple answer, it would be yes. However, I don't believe it's extremely likely. If he's taking an unofficial to Texas A&M, of course, there's going to be a little bit of a chance for A&M to do that. And Malachi Nelson, I do know he is about NIL, and that's not why he committed to USC by any means. He committed to Lincoln Riley because he's Lincoln Riley, a great quarterback coach and offensive guru. However, seeing how much money that some of these top quarterbacks are making just from NIL deals, and knowing some of the NIL deals that are at Texas A&M, they can probably put up a fight with USC money-wise any day of the week. And if you're a USC fan, would you need to be worried about Texas A&M? In my opinion, I'm going to say no. However, don't completely rule them out of the picture, because A&M, they can fight with the fight, and although they haven't had the quarterback success that Lincoln Riley has had in his college football coaching career, something you can point out is that A&M, they're going to fight for Malachi Nelson if they're really having somewhat of a chance to get him. When talking about this entire situation with Malachi Nelson, in my perspective, I do not think Malachi Nelson is going to flip from USC at all in this 2023 recruiting class. A lot of players take visits after they're committed, and it seems like Malachi Nelson is really just doing that. Although Steve Wiltfong did say that this A&M smoke for Malachi Nelson is very real, in my opinion, I feel like this may be a move by Malachi Nelson to potentially get more NIL from USC donors and to bring up his NIL stock even more to make even more money. As Texas A&M, everyone knows they have money, and people know that they can get some players with their NIL deals that they have down in College Station. And that can be very intriguing to Malachi Nelson, and it could be something that he uses in his advantage against USC and to have their donors or any of their NIL people give him more money. Well, guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below. Do you think Malachi Nelson is going to stick with his commitment to USC or potentially flip to Texas A&M? Also, before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly, out.